Arsenal face an uphill battle. There's change of foot at Roma. Fellaini calls it quits. There's rumours and transfers from around Europe. And of course, we have today's Friday feels. That and more coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. Last night added some Europa League action where a very poor Arsenal side lost in France 3-1 to Rennes. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but that's just how I'm reading it. Anyway, back to the match, and in what was a poor showing from Unai Emery's side, Socrates Papastathopoulos also got himself sent off, meaning that he'll be out for the return leg. Now, in a week full of ridiculous European comebacks, I fully expect Arsenal to come back and progress. They only have to win 2-0 at home. It's not like they have to go to Real Madrid or the PSG and pull something out of the hat, the likes of Manchester United and Ajax did. Still, it's a pretty poor showing for them and doesn't really bode well ahead of their match against Manchester United at the weekend. Elsewhere in the Europa League though, Chelsea cruised past Dinamo Kiev by winning 3-0, in which Callum Hudson-Odoi got on the score sheet. Napoli blasted past RB Salzburg in a 3-0 victory, and as for Benfica, well, they lost 1-0 against Dinamo Zagreb, which makes it even more embarrassing for them in Portuguese football, as their main rivals Porto went through to the next round of the Champions League by beating Roma. And next up to a piece of news coming out of Italy, where Roma have sacked their manager Eusebio Di Francesco. It's been a pretty poor week for the club as a whole. On Saturday night, they lost in their main derby of the season to Lazio 3-0, and then lost in the Champions League to Porto, as I just mentioned, in the second leg, meaning that they're not going to see a repeat of last year's heroics, so they made it all the way to the semi-final. So who will be coming in to replace him? Well, at the moment, it looks like Claudio Ranieri. Yes, the very same Claudio Ranieri, who last week was sacked from Fulham with them near the relegation zone in the Premier League table. The reason for this is, well, he's no more than a stopgap until the end of the season. Bringing in a new manager now will be pretty difficult, so the whole point is that you can bring in Ranieri. He's a native of Rome, he knows the club, he's been manager before, and he's basically just going to steady the ship for the next few months. They are only a few points outside of the Champions League places, so if you can get them to qualify for the Champions League, well, that's just an added bonus until they find someone new in the summer. Alongside this, there is more change happening at Roma as their sporting director Monchi is set to leave and will find a new club at the end of the season. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, basically he was the sporting director at Sevilla for around 16 years before then leaving to join Rome. During that time, he oversaw a massive turn in the academy, the likes of which produced Jose Antonio Reyes, Alberto Moreno and Sergio Ramos. He then went and sold those on for a load of money, as well as finding incredible bargains in the transfer market, bringing the likes of Brazilian fullback Adriano, as well as Ivan Rakitic and Dani Alves. So he does a pretty good job. The first reports have it that when he leaves Rome, he's actually going to go and join Arsenal, who of course lost Sven Mislintat earlier in the season, their head of scouting. Arsenal fans, do you think that Monchi would be a good signing? And if he could do what he did at Sevilla, he could really work wonders, especially considering that Arsenal are on a bit of a transfer budget in the window. But away from club football and to a little piece of sad news from international football, and that is that Marouane Fellaini has officially announced his international retirement all the way from China. The Belgian player played in 87 games, appeared at 2 World Cups and an Olympics for the Red Devils, and well, after all this, he's still best known for his crazy haircut. It's a gift and a curse, obviously. Now in China, as I mentioned before, with Shandong Luneng, who he actually scored the winner for on his debut, he is 31 years old and his chance of being picked for the national side are getting a little bit slimmer. In his farewell letter on all of his social media, he said that now was the time to hand over to the younger generation in what is one of Belgium's most successful periods in their history. They currently sit number 1 in the FIFA World Rankings. This is a far better farewell to international football than the fates that befell Mats Hummels, Jerome Boateng and Thomas Müller, who were told by their national team manager that they weren't even going to have a chance in the future of their national team, despite being younger than Fellaini. And next up to a little bit of transfer news involving some players and managers from around the world of football. First off, Juventus manager Max Allegri has said that talks about his contract extension have been put on hold until the end of the season. Elsewhere, Isco is absolutely enraged with Real Madrid manager Santiago Solari and has told his entourage to make initial contact with Manchester City. Both Liverpool and Everton are interested in Real Sociedad's defender Diego Llorente, and Manchester City have been told they will need to break the record paid for a defender, which is currently 75 million for Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, if they want to sign Leicester left-back Ben Chilwell. So lastly but not least, because it's Friday, we come to today's Friday Feels. This is where you guys can let me know in the comment section all of your predictions for the weekend's football. It could be a manager, a player, a club, a scoreline, a tackle, a red card, a goal, anything, let me know down below and they'll be reviewed on Monday's Daily News. But first off, I'm going with a Dortmund victory. I think they're going to get back to winning ways with all 3 points over VfB Stuttgart. Second, I'm going for Arsenal to lose 2-1 at home to Manchester United. We've mentioned the difference in their form from the past week, and well, I think United are going to do it and gain a second victory in the Emirates in the space of a few months. And lastly but not least, in Marseille's game against Nice in the French League, I think Mario Balotelli is going to find the back of the net again and probably do another crazy celebration like he did last week. So that's all from me for today. Make sure you leave a like down below and also let me know in the comment section all of your thoughts. Will Monchi come in and be a good sporting director for Arsenal? Will any of these transfer rumours actually happen? And can the Gunners turn around the second leg deficit against Rennes? So that's all from me for the whole week. As for next week's videos on Onefootball, well, Paddy, Ian, Ed and a few others will be in to cover all of the content that we've got going up on the channel. But fear not, I'll be back in around 10 days or so. So until then, enjoy your week and I'll see you guys soon.